Good evening. It's 6 o'clock, or we're about a minute away. My watch says 6. It is 6 o'clock. Happy St. Patrick's Day and March 17th, 2020. I'll call the meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Mayor Ortega.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Lauer.
Here by phone.
Councilmember Thompson. Here. Councilmember Estes.
Here by phone.
Councilmember Applegate.
Here.
Councilmember Geek.
Here by phone.
Councilmember Duncan.
Here.
All 7 members.
Okay, so we have one public here tonight, and for those of you who are watching online or will watch it later, obviously the times are weird right now, so we're kind of just trial running a different way to run our meetings, since we're trying to stay as far away from each other as possible and do those sort of things. So we are still required by our charter to have at least 2 meetings a month. So this is our second meeting for this month. And so one of the ideas I came up with, well, let's have 3 members call in via teleconferencing, and the other 4 will show up. The reason why I did that way is so if for some reason they get disconnected, we still have a quorum to keep moving forward. We'll get them reconnected as quickly as we can. But if something were to happen that way, at least we have a quorum here. So I'll ask next time if we have to do it this way that we have different volunteers to stay home just to kind of equal that out. But I'm hoping we have a better way of meeting. Maybe video conferencing. I know IT's working hard on figuring a solution. We don't have another council meeting for 3 weeks because of our moving next week's meeting to today because of spring break, and I think this is going to work out perfectly for us anyway, just because of the state of where we're at right now. As always, if you guys have questions who are watching or listening, or please don't hesitate to call and get answers, and we'll do the best we can to answer those questions. Anything coronavirus related, we're putting all of our information that we get from the El Paso County Health on our website, and we're linking directly to them and to the state. We're really taking our cues from Governor Polis, the county people, and of course the president, and just how we need to be moving forward. Thanks to city staff for really working double time on this and ensuring that we can still continue city business as close to normal as possible. We have a lot of people who are doing some teleworking, and we're just really spacing out and ensuring that we can still run the city and keep moving forward and won't be so far behind when things hopefully get back to normal in a couple of weeks. With that, meeting's going to look a little different tonight as far as how we do voting. We're going to do a roll call since we do have 3 who aren't with us here in person. So everyone's still going to have an opportunity to speak and or vote for that as well. So just bear with us as we get through this. Our agenda is actually pretty short tonight, so we should be able to get through that pretty quickly. Only one change to the agenda tonight that I'm going to throw in. Instead of doing correspondence, comments, and ex officio reports at the end of the meeting, I'm just going to cut that out because we do have council agenda requests and announcements. And then at the end of council agenda requests and announcements tonight, I'm going to see if Scott, Sylvia, or Paul have anything to share with us tonight. If not, we're just going to go ahead and cancel that out at the end of the meeting so that we can all get back home and be with who we need to be. So with that, we will move forward. We have no presentations tonight. We do have an appointment of a member to the Park and Recreation Advisory Board for the remainder of a 4-year term. Ms. Huffman, is that you?
Yes, thank you, Mayor and City Council. This vacancy is due to Ms. Estes stepping down from the Park Board. As you know, she took her seat here with City Council that left a regular vacancy. This appointment would be for the remainder of a 4-year term set to expire March of 2023. City Clerk's Office did receive 1 application. The application is from Mr. Kenneth Scott Henderson, and he opted to not be here this evening. But if you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to pass those on to him. But that's the only application we received for this seat.
Okay. Do we have any questions from council members here in the chamber tonight on this? And any of the 3 at home, do you have any questions on this?
I don't.
Nothing for me.
Okay. And so, unless there's any questions, we can make the appointment. Mr. Applegate, go ahead.
I'll move to approve the appointment.
And Ms. Duncan.
I second.
Okay, we have a motion and second for appointment. We'll have Ms. Huffman go ahead and do the roll call.
Okay, Mayor Ortega, how do you vote?
Yes?
Mayor Pro Tem Lauer, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councilmember Thompson, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councilmember Estes, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councilmember Applegate, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councilmember Geek, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councilmember Duncan, how do you vote?
Yes.
7 yes, motion carried.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Henderson, and we'll be getting to you with information on our next meeting whenever that occurs again, but thank you for being willing to be a part of that for us. So we'll move right into item number 5, City Council Agenda Requests and Announcements. I'll start with Ms. Thompson.
Just 2 announcements. A lot of people there's a lot of stuff on the news about the political process. Right before, our legislator worked last week and they passed a bill, House Bill 20-1359, which the 2 parties had agreement on, which is worth rejoicing right there. They got together and figured out how to keep the political process moving forward, suspending some of the bylaws, making notifications shorter, electronic, and a bunch of changes. So if you have any questions on the voting going on with your party or anything in general, check out that law and then check with your political party what they're doing to keep things moving forward. So the House is out for at least 2, or the legislature's closed for at least 2 weeks. The Fountain Valley Senior Center is closed as of, I believe, yesterday. Members that want meals, if they are members and regular attenders there, they can call and sign up for meals. Do not just show up. There will not be a meal for you. It's only on a sign-up basis. They're like $2.25. And you'll be basically driving by. And for right now, they still are doing medical and food shopping appointments with their buses. But, again, call ahead because things are changing rapidly. But for right now, they're still trying to get people to their medical appointments and out to get their food.
Okay. I will go with Mayor Pro Tem. Anything?
I just want to say a quick thanks to everybody who made it possible for us to do the meeting like this so that we can sort of iron out the bugs in case we need to do a complete telephonic meeting at some point in the future. I appreciate everybody's hard work on this. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Ms. Estes, anything?
Just one reminder that during this epidemic that we've got going on, they're really short on blood donors, and I encourage everybody that can to please get out and donate.
Oh, okay. So blood banks are working normally then?
Yes, they are.
Okay. All
And
right.
there's still need for accidents and emergencies, so please donate.
Okay. All right. Anything else?
Nope, that's it.
Okay. Mr. Applegate?
No,
Mr. Geek?
Yes, I was called this morning by Susan Whalen, the director of the El Paso County Board of Health, and she has told us that anything we can do, or anything they can do to help us down in Fountain, to be sure and let them know. I talked to Scott about it this morning. Anything we need, we just need to let them know.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Ms. Dietra?
Okay, just a couple of things. At the United Way, they are asking for volunteers, whether it be by donations or volunteers to help. If you would go on their website, and you can check with them to see how you can help with that. Also, I'm the delegate for House District 21. And so we will be having also some of the same types of meetings by phone. So I'll let you know how that goes. So if anyone wants any information on how to do that and see if it works for them.
And that's for the Democrat Party, correct?
Yes.
House is canceled.
I'm sorry?
Our assembly is canceled.
No, the Republican Assembly is not canceled. I was just on the phone with Vicki Tompkins. It is not canceled. We have lost the school we were going to meet in, But the Republican Assembly right now is not canceled, and our district meeting is Sunday. Should have got an email about it today.
3 different people told me it was canceled.
Well, you should come to the source.
Should have gone to Vicky.
Okay, anything else, Ms.
No.
Duncan? Okay. And then the only thing I have is, just want to assure public, you know, we're not out there with press conferences and everything and things like that. I'm releasing a statement later on tonight that we've been working on. But just want to assure the folks here in Fountain that staff has been working really hard. Again, double time, triple time on nothing but coronavirus and ensuring that we're a part of the discussion when it comes to the county level, when it comes to the level of the state and things. So we have people with hands as many places as they can be when this information's coming out, and we're a part of this. So again, just want to make sure that everybody is aware of that, and we are right in the thick of things and ensuring that we're in a good spot. So I have no other announcements at this
Lauer
point.
Has left the conference.
Who did?
Greg Lauer.
Okay, he'll get back on. Mr. Trainer, do you have anything that needs to be shared from the city?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, thank you. Just real briefly, I just want to do a really quick update on that. So right now, the city of Fountain is at a Tier 3 status. It's in our 4-tier response plan for the coronavirus. So Tier 3, what that essentially means is that we have a number of workers who are telecommuting. We're taking extra steps to sanitize spaces. We're limiting some of the public access to certain areas, and we're allowing public to access in different ways. We are really working hard for those that are still in our facilities
joined
to
the
create
conference.
separation in the way they do things. We're eliminating our public meetings, you know, and any of our internal meetings. Just a number of those sorts of steps to keep our employees and members of the public safe. I want to make sure that I mention that on our website, there's a great link right on the front page of the website that goes to that's tied into the whole coronavirus issue, and that actually has very up-to-date updates on what we're doing as far as services, how services are being impacted. And so I think that's a great location for people to go. There's some really good information on there. And fortunately right now, there's really minimal impact. I mean, we're not doing we're not doing any of our recreation programs right now. Our recycling center is shut down. So there's a couple things like that. But for the most part, we're able to continue to provide the services that we need to, so which is a great thing. The other thing I want to mention is we have a really good core communications team with our emergency manager, our communications manager, and then over in the fire department, Michael Gates, who's really tied in with the emergency response over there. That trio really works closely to keep tied into the county EOC and OEM, the health department communications, everything that's going on there. The Joint Information Center, John's actually volunteering this week to participate in that. So we really have our fingers in a lot of different communication places to help us really keep tied in with what they're doing at that level. And all the communication that you're going to see really is directed by the county health department or the state. It's really trying to focus our communication to be really consistent with what they're doing. So and I think that team's doing a great job. But that's really all I wanted to hit on, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thanks. Ms. Huffman, anything from City Clerk's office?
Nothing. Thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, I've had a request from someone online to be sure we're leaning their microphones or they can't hear us.
Okay. Okay, thanks. Paul, anything from IT?
Nothing beyond what's already been discussed, Mayor. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. And again, please bear with us with the technology. We're going to do the best we can. Luckily, again, it's a short meeting. We can work out kind of the kinks tonight, and we'll hopefully have a better system. I think one of the bigger things we're most concerned about is that public comment access and being able to allow for that to work as well. So one of those things I think it's going to come out of this that is going to change the way we do some things across the board. So, okay, let's go ahead and move forward. Public to be heard. We know the spiel. Do you have anything you'd like to say? Nope, we're good. Okay, we'll move forward. We have a consent agenda. All items listed under consent are be considered to be routine will be approved with one motion. We have items A and B. Ms. Thompson
Move to approve consent agenda?
and Ms. Duncan?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and second. Roll call.
Mayor Ortega, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Lauer, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councilmember Thompson, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councilmember Estes, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councilmember Applegate, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councilmember Geek, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councilmember Duncan, how do you vote?
Yes.
7 yes, motion carried.
All right. Our next item, we have no old business tonight. We'll move right into 9A, new business. We have nothing pulled from consent. I'm open let me start over. Item 9B, I'm opening a public hearing to consider the request of an application for a special events liquor permit for American Legion Post number 38. Ms. Huffman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and City Council. I'm asking that if this was just put on for protocol, it was actually published and noticed that there would be a public hearing heard today. However, we have to reschedule that public hearing, which was approved already within our consent agenda to be heard on the 14th. So I'm just asking it to close the public hearing, understanding that this public hearing is now reset for the 14th.
Okay, with that, I will close the public hearing, and there's no action or anything being taken on it tonight. It will be again April 14th.
That's correct.
At that meeting. So if you have concerns or comments on that issue, that's when it's going to be spoken about or talked about then. Okay. Item 9C, resolution number 20-021. Let me start over. Resolution number 20-021. A resolution amending the financial. Well, yeah. Let me start over. Resolution number 20-021, a resolution amending the financial policies and procedures. Who's doing this one?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm just going to really briefly mention that John Lewis, our finance director, he will be doing that, but we need to pull that from the agenda. He's one of our employees who has to be isolated at home because he's spent time up in Breckenridge within the last week. So he's actually doing great. I mean, health-wise, he's just out of an abundance of caution, we've been asked to keep those folks home. So he's working from home, so we'll bring that back at a future council meeting.
Okay. All right. Next one's important, so I'll make sure when I talk to each council member, I'll call individually each council member who's not here, so you have an opportunity to speak on this one. Item 9D, resolution number 20-022. Review and adoption of Resolution 20-022, a declaration of emergency related to novel coronavirus COVID-19. Mr. Trainer.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council. As you know, the big conversation that we've been talking about even tonight has been all around coronavirus. And if you watch the news, you've seen the federal government declare emergency, you've seen the state do that, and you've seen the county do that. So we're to the point now where we really need to do the same thing. And really, I want to make sure I reiterate to the council or explain to the council that this is just a necessary step in the emergency management system process to ensure that we have access to any of the resources and funds that we might need. We don't know if we're going to need them yet, but that we may need as we go throughout this. Because as we go throughout this, there may be a number of costs that come up. For example, additional PPE that we hadn't thought about purchasing or didn't think we needed, but realize as you're going through something like this, you really do need far more than the norm. So things like that, this opens up those resources to us. The state actually thinks, but they're not entirely sure, that we're covered through the state's declaration, but they're still trying to get clarification from the federal government. So it really is in our best interest to go ahead and declare our own emergency. I want to make sure I mention, just for informational purposes, that our current city charter, section 2.3 of that city charter, really lists the mayor as recognize the mayor as the head of the city government when you're in an emergency situation like this, which is really important because you really do need that one point of contact that's tied in to the political side of things as well that really becomes that head. And so the mayor is actually serving as the head of the city government since we're in this emergency right now. The other thing is the CRS, the statutes allow the mayor to unilaterally, as the principal officer of the city, to declare an emergency for up to 7 days. That, generally speaking, is probably adequate for many of the emergencies that happen because they're quick things that come in that you deal with, and then they're gone, and then you deal with picking up the pieces afterwards. In a case like this, whether, you're hearing anything from weeks to months now that this may be going on, that's not really adequate. So in order to expand that beyond the 7 days, you do that with the consent of council. So we're before you tonight to request that you declare an emergency for the next 60 days. If things settle down before that, great. We can shut down that emergency, or if it goes beyond that, we'll be coming back to extend that. Any questions that anyone has for me?
Okay, any questions from people who are here? Okay, I'm going to start with Mayor Pro Tem. Any questions on this, comments?
No questions, but the one comment I would make is I appreciate being forward-looking on this, and I appreciate that we're trying to also get out ahead of the public perception that a declaration of emergency might have if we're not careful with that. And I appreciate the fact that we're stressing this is only so that we can open up access to resources if they become necessary. So I appreciate that, and again, appreciate the forward-looking approach for taking to this.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Ms. Estes, anything?
I just agree with Greg that this is a great idea.
Okay, and Mr. Geek?
Nothing from me.
All right. Once again, anybody here have any questions, comments on this? I think it's the right thing. It's nothing has changed dramatically that we need to do this. It's just we're going to just kind of jump on board with it. We're more than likely covered through the state's emergency declaration, but let's go ahead and cover this base as well. And I think as the federal government starts divvying out those funds, we want to make sure we're in there and ready to accept as best as quickly as we can. So. I think we're good on that.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. With that, what would council like to do with this resolution? Ms. Duncan.
I'd like to approve the resolution. Do I need to say anything else?
Second.
And we have a second by Mr. Applegate. And go ahead and do roll call.
Mayor Ortega, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Lauer, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councilmember Thompson, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councilmember Estes, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councilmember Applegate, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councilmember Geek, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councilmember Duncan, how do you vote?
Yes.
7 yes, motion carried.
Okay. Thanks. That is it for the majority of our meeting tonight. We have no executive session. And we do have a GID quick meeting for second reading. So we will adjourn our regular city council meeting. Again, thank you for those who are on with us live. And if you watch it later, again, it was just a dry run of how we can kind of tackle this in the future. We're going to continue working on that. Our next meeting is scheduled for April 14th, 2020, and hopefully we're in a way better place by then. And my suggestion to everybody is just keep calm, love on your family, and just find things to do. Hopefully after Thursday's winter storm we may be getting, we can kind of enjoy the weather and just be with our families and take care of that. So if you need anything from us, we'll be here. Okay. We'll adjourn that meeting. Those of you who are on, just stay on, and we'll move into GID here in a second.
Didn't we do this last week?
This is second reading.
Kinda.
That was first reading. We did second reading.
Hey,